My name is Bob Bond, Robert to be formal. My work in this community was as the manager of spiritual care, first for the Welland County General Hospital. It was around 1994, I think. The manager of mental health, Paula Penner was her name, she noted that there was a horrible thing happening. There were people who were inpatients in mental health who were having to be discharged into homelessness. And it was obscene to watch this, because how is a person supposed to manage that? In Toronto, there was a program called Out of the Cold, where faith communities were banding together to provide overnight shelter and food for people who were homeless. And Paula said, surely we could pull something like that off. And the result of that was the launching of an Out of the Cold program here in Welland, and eventually also in Port Colborne. But in order to do such work, we needed a lot of volunteers. So we set up a training program for those volunteers. I reached out to a number of services in the community. Hope Center was top of the list, basically, because of the work that Hope Center was doing. There evolved a group of us that wanted to see a shelter, a significant resource for people who are homeless. So that brought me alongside Bernadette, the executive director of Hope Center, and we worked to create what was eventually named the Hope House. I continued to work with a number of those people in an initiative. It was called the Strategy to End Poverty in Welland, and I chaired that group for a number of years. I moved into becoming a member of the board of the Hope Center as well, because all of this work was basically addressing the same local need, housing, but then how to help people as they try to get their feet under them again. It becomes really clear working with people that if a person isn't housed, then everything else in their life, every other aspect of their living is so complicated and stressful. So a person who maybe has mental health issues, income issues, addiction issues, how is all of that supposed to be managed if I don't even know where I'm going to put my head down tonight and whether it's going to be safe?
So I'm Samantha Hill. I'm the current operations manager here at the Hope Center. So I actually started as a student back in 2009, 2010. I did my placement. I was in the SSW program, and I did my placement at our shelter, which was called the Hope House at the time. So the Hope House used to be located at 116 Division Street. I actually have the postal code still memorized to this day. It was a nice little building. We could serve 10 men, 8 women. We had room for 2 families there. It was a really cool building. That was a great setup for a shelter. We supported the homeless population in Welland by helping with getting them rehoused. So back then it was actually a lot easier to get people housed. We had really short stays. People would pop in for maybe a week, and we were able to, through newspaper ads, get them housed really quickly into rooms that only cost about $350, into 1 bedrooms that sat at $650. So it was a really easy time to house folks and really support the population. Because housing people was a little bit easier, we had a bit more time to really support them in different needs, like maybe the mental health needs or the addictions needs. We could make referrals, we could focus on some of their other needs that they had. It was a little bit easier when housing wasn't so precarious. We were pretty full all the time, and it was a really cool place to do my placement. And I was really thankful that I got that opportunity, because here I am still serving the community that I grew up in to this day.
Didn't just do shelter, it assigned each person coming in to basically a caseworker who helped address their immediate needs. It was, I think, a brilliant model, and it was quite exciting to be part of that whole thing. That whole future gaze is complicated in our world. People who have resource want to preserve what we have for ourselves and for the security of our children. And in an environment like that, people who are on the margin get left even further behind. So places like the Hope Center are absolutely essential because they're focused.